Hi, we're back. Me and Shayna talking today about salary negotiation, how to deal with the question, what are your salary requirements in an interview? Just before I ask Shayna what to do, let me just make a little case for on the flip side of that. When someone's applying for a position and they're looking at a job ad or hearing from a recruiter and they don't list what the salary range is, it's very, very hard to make a decision if you even want to apply to that job. How do you know that the position is going to pay you more than your current salary, or it's going to pay what you're expecting? So I really encourage all employers to please write at least a salary range so that it's a known variable before anyone has to get too deeply invested in that job. What Shayna, what happens if you don't have a salary listed on the job ad or it's an unknown? What do you do when during an interview an employer says to you, what are your salary requirements?
That's a great question, and you're so right about that point. I wish that every employer would just state it, and this whole nonsense and this back and forth, it's such a silly game. I think because we all know you have a budget in mind, I hope, right? So why play this game of trying to, lowball people? What I tell my candidates when they're going into an interview is obviously don't answer the question. Now, how? You don't want to come across as rude or unfriendly or uncooperative. So the line that I like to, for people to practice in the mirror is to, first of all, be prepared. So you can go on payscale.com, glassdoor.com, and what other websites would you recommend?
Salary.com is good.
Yeah, okay, so go there, and then it's going to be pretty simple to figure out what the range for this position is so that you know what it is. And say it's, $45,000, right? For this, the average, it's maybe between 40 and 50 nationwide. In your city, it's 45. So you know that they have a budget in mind and you know what the public thing is. So I like to come across as like, look, let's not be silly. There's a number here, right? You shouldn't have to reveal how much you were making at your previous job, right? Obviously, you're looking for a better job. And you don't want to make the mistake that I had someone make before we worked together of giving a number that was too low and leaving like $20,000 on the table, or giving an offer that was too high and they would have taken the lower offer had they known, but the employer was like, oh, you're out of our budget. And then they didn't get hired and they weren't told why later on. So what I like to say is, look, I know that there is, I know that I'm sure there's a budget for this. I know that the standard average in our area is X. I'm sure that if I'm the right person for the job, we can figure out a number that works for both of us. And I like to just get money to the side, because until you were offered a job and you're interested in the job, there's really nothing to discuss. Right. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a delicate conversation. It could be awkward if we could just try to keep that, very like objective and neutral. Sounds good.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, and don't leave money on the table. That's your job.
Sounds